Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about buy-in. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, do you have any tips on how to get buy-in from stakeholders to allocate time and resources for work that lowers the cost of failure and blast radius? I feel like there is always something to be done in the area and none ever tries to prioritize and solve it. Only when a catastrophic failure actually happens they might do something, and even then it is not guaranteed. Okay, yeah, this is it's actually the thing that I argue that has given me most of the leverage that I have in as part of my profile. So basically what I argue is that this thing here is the reason why I argue you have to develop your social skills a little bit, and so, or the soft skills. So when I say soft skills, guys, I want to make this maybe a little bit clearer. So soft skills, it's basically social skills, or like being able to talk to people and so forth. But it's not just exclusively that you're a nice person or that you have, a really that you're well liked or things like that. It also has to do with your ability to communicate effectively with people. And so when you deal with situations like this, it's usually the case of, imagine a little bit like a personal trainer or a doctor or some type of expert or something like that, or a sales representative or something like that. So these people, they talk to patients or customers every single day, and one of their main jobs, apart from of course informing people or like doing tests and stuff like that, is to try to make the person that they're talking to understand their viewpoint and the value in what their suggestions are. Now, for us engineers, we have to fundamentally understand something in order to make this happen, and that is a rare thing in a lot of software developers. And I promise you, if you can master this, you will see a lot of return in terms of like people like investing, like you're investing in you. That is one of the biggest things that you can learn, guys, is that it doesn't matter if you have a good technical idea, because most of your managers, they don't really know why it's super important to do that refactor or things like that and so forth. And if you don't know how to make them understand, they won't buy it, because the thing that they are investing in is you. If you seem to be an expert, if you have a track record of being really good at what you do and you speak the lingo, they feel like, yeah, this person really knows their stuff, and I get a good sensation. That's the thing I've said to you guys about interviews. A technical interview, is about getting the person to have a good gut feeling about you. And if you think about it yourself, it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing I do when I go to a doctor. I don't know anything about medicine, so what do I have to go on? Well, I go on their personal charisma, how informed they seem, how easy it is to deal with them, and like, do they seem to like be able to answer my questions and explain to me in layman's terms why I need that specific medicine or that operation or whatever it might be, right? That's the stuff that is going to give me a sensation of, yeah, I trust this individual. And that is the thing that you're trying to do. You're trying to build up trust, because trust me, guys, when I say that when I've come with suggestions that literally involves tons and tons of people, if you think about that in terms of money, we're talking about millions and millions. And if someone's going to invest millions into my idea, they're probably going to want to make sure that I know what I'm doing, right? And that's why you have to practice your ability to communicate things in a way that feels comprehensible to your stakeholders, and you have to make sure that your ideas sound feasible given their circumstances. This is where you can do it immediately. You can go and look at there are courses on rhetoric and like argumentation and things like that that will help you understand how to construct persuasive arguments for your cause, whatever cause that might be. just do that, and then take a page from the sales reps and the people who know how to sell things, and make them understand that it doesn't matter if you know how amazing your product is or so forth and so forth. You have to communicate in terms of what feels valuable to your customer. So what I usually do is that I communicate three things depending on the situation. Number one, it will not cost much, because I know for a fact that we're always busy in IT. Everybody always has something to do, almost, and that means that if I'm going to do this thing over here, something else is going to have to give. And so I have to convince my people, or my managers, or the people who are my stakeholders, to just see the benefit. I have to tell them that there is a benefit to this, and then I have to make sure that they know that it's not a big deal to get this done. And that brings me to the second thing. Yeah, it's easy to do. That's the second thing I have to make them understand. Like, yeah, this is a win. They have to feel like it's a win for them, and it's not a big cost or things like that. That's also pretty straightforward. Third and lastly, it will not have an impact on delivery speed, or practically no impact on delivery speed. That, yeah, they're going to get all the things they already want, but they're going to get this on top, which is super, super nice. And I have to persuade them to that. Now, here's the challenge for you. This is where the engineering comes in. And this is the thing that, if you can do this, I promise you, you will be able to replace me at my job immediately, because that is basically what I do. So those things that I just said, it will not cost much, it's easy to do, and it won't really impact delivery speed all that much. I have to convince them that this is true. So how do I do that without lying? That's the challenge. How do you do that without ever lying to somebody? Now, this is the thing that I find interesting. This is a problem that, yes, you can imagine. If you want to refactor a whole code base or so forth, there is no way in hell that you can sell, as I like to say, the big rewrite. The big rewrite cannot happen and still have this be true, like, depending on how you want to look at it. I know for a fact that this can be done because I've done it, but I've also done it without lying about this. And that's the trick. Once you figure out, when you've worked enough for like that, this is literally what I try to, this is how I've tried to structure my career, to figure out how to do things like this, because most companies struggle with all the issues that you are talking about, but they simply don't know how can we, in a sustainable way, make all these good adjustments without compromising with this other thing. And most developers, they think in terms of, well, we have to do this, therefore you have to give us time to do this, and so forth. And I always tell them, yeah, that is one way of doing it. Like a class, for me, like an example is, if you have a really, really big rock that is like that you have to move, or you have to tip it over like an edge or something like that, and every single software developer, I always talk to them, they always have this mindset they have to go and stand there and push on the rock so that it tips over. And I go, you can do that, but you're going to need a lot of people to do that. And here's my suggestion. Let's get a shovel and undermine a little bit just at the edge of the thing, and then it's going to fall over by itself. That's what I've tried to do. I try to make these restrictions true and use my engineering mindset, my way of problem solving, to figure out, okay, so how can I do this and still not lie to my customer? So what I want you to take away from this is that the way that you get buy-in from your stakeholders is as simple as you have to construct compelling arguments for what you want to achieve. But you also have to understand that you can't just say, hey, we're gonna do this awesome thing that you don't understand, but it's gonna cost you a lot of time and money. You have to take a page from the people who understand how to talk to people so that they see the value in what you're selling. Because it is an idea, and you should always remember that, guys. People invest with their gut. They always do. The reason, I mean, if you just think about it, why are you watching me right now? Assuming now that you watched a few of my other videos. You have no idea if I am a software developer or not. But technically, you haven't seen me do any, well, I'm assuming you haven't seen me do any coding or so. Like, you don't really have concrete proof per se that what I'm saying is true. But hopefully my mannerisms, my way of behaving, my experience, all this sort of stuff gives you a good gut feeling that, yeah, Predator probably knows a few things because he seems like he knows a few things. That can be dangerous as well. Remember, some people train for this, where like Toastmasters and things like that, and politicians, where their job literally depends on that you are willing to vote for them. You don't really know if they're going to do a good job or not, but you seem to believe them because they seem to be believable, and they're saying things like they're using rhetoric to their advantage. You can do the same thing. And so what I tell you is try to communicate these three things in general terms. It's not going to cost a lot, it's pretty easy to do, and it's not going to have a big impact on delivery speed. And then the trick is to be such a good software engineer that you know how to make those claims true for every problem that you have. Have a great day.